welcome to the first video of a multi-part video series where we're going to talk about making event gen. Event gen is a term to have Splunk create events for you. If you've ever taken a Splunk course and you've logged into their systems, there's a whole bunch of logs. Those aren't logs of real systems. They're actually generated using what they call event gen. Basically, we'll take some sample log files and we'll use some little Splunk magic on them, and it will start generating those logs. So and we'll just create traffic logs as if there was an actually system going on. This is really useful when you're building a training environment, design environment, or home use where you don't have the logs you need. You can build an environment that's close enough, that looks real, where people can go in and get the general principles that they need. So let's kick that off with how to do this. First thing we're going to build it all from scratch, and we're going to build the most simple event gens to begin with, and then we'll have multiple videos on how to add more bells and whistles to it. Basic concept, I'm going to create an app. I just basically need a shell construct to build this, and we're going to call this lame event gen wizard. I don't know. And we'll just call it LEW. And we're going to give it the version 1.0.0. All right, we have that. Now what we're going to need to do is populate this. We now have the shell, so I can go into the back end here. And big thing you're going to need is you're going to need a sample file and the eventgen.conf file. We're going to start with the eventgen.conf. My first thing I would tell you is go to, and I'll put the link below, splunkgithub.io. There's documentation on it, and it will tell you how the eventgen.conf app works. Sorry, the eventgen.conf settings are. I have summarized it a lot, and so we'll have it over here. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe I'll paste this stuff in the description below. But these are the concepts we're going to need, and so let's go build this. I'm going to clear my screen here. If I do a listing, we should see the lem file. There it is, cd lu app. All right, so we've got a default directory, and what we're going to do is we'll go into default, cd into default, and I'm going to clear that. So vi eventgen.conf. That is the name of the file that we are going to download an EventGen app from Splunk. It's going to look through all of the apps for anything that has an eventgen.conf. And every app that has an eventgen.conf, it will start to generate their logs for it. So we just need to set our settings here. So we'll go in. I'm actually going to carry this template over. This just makes it a little easier for me. Copy, be a lot of erasing, but whatever. Make sure I have it. All right, so I need a file to sample, and we're going to call this mylog.sample. I'm going to keep it with a .sample. It's just I have fought this program a long time. These are things that work for me. You can name a lot of things. It'll take CSVs, text, and stuff, but I've found that I'm just name my files .sample and it works a lot better. Plus, it makes it easy to know what I'm doing here. But this will be the actual name. I will go and create a sample log file, and it will be called mylog.sample. So whatever goes between these brackets is the name of your log that you're going to use as the base for this event gen. Then I need an index. And so I'm going to call it lame event gen. And you want to make sure you have that index. If you don't have that index, you're not going to get the logs. So you need to make sure that your Splunk instance that's running this actually has an index with that name. Otherwise, it won't work. All right, count is the number of events that occur during a time interval. There is a plus minus number in there. I'm still working to figure out where exactly that's determined. If anybody knows, by all means, put it down in the comments below. But the concept is I'm going to put a number of how many logs I want generated from this sample. I'm going to make it simple, 10. What it's basically going to do is it's going to look at the log, and it's going to take 10 of those and uh, make 10 logs during a specific time period, which I will create. I'll say how often that's to occur. But during a X amount of time, it will generate 10 logs. If I do this, it'll generate 100 logs. So you make as many logs as you feel you need for your system. For the demo purposes, we're going to keep it really simple. We're going to do 10. All right, the next one is mode equals. You have two options. You have sample or replay. For the simplistic sake, we're going to do sample. Sample is going to grab this log and it's going to sample some of the logs from there and use that as the base to build them. If you have, you could have 20 logs in there and it'll grab, it's going to sample it. Maybe it'll grab one of those 20 logs, use that as the base and create a log from it. Replay will actually go, all right, grab the first log, grab the second log, grab the third log, grab the fourth log, and all it is basically going to do is it's going to keep that log identical, but it will change the timestamp on the log. So when I want to build a scenario, so for example, I'm doing a security scenario, I'm going to set up a certain set of events. I want, say, some failed authentication attempts, and then a valid authentication attempt, and then some pivoting through the network, etc. So I've built this scenario. I want my logs to not be changed at all. I want it just to replay, but change the time that the events occurred. Then you would use a replay. A sample is just going to grab your log, and based off the things I've chosen to have changed on it, it will change those logs. And so sample is really good for creating noise. I don't want to say it's useless, but there may not be any connection between log A and log B. It's just going to grab your sample set of logs and change some key fields and then spit them back out. Replay is really good. If you need to make sure a certain scenario occurs, then that's the case. If I just sample, I'm never going to be able to create a security event just off a sample. I hope that makes sense there for you. But basically, sample is when you just need to create a lot of logs. Replay is for taking a specific scenario and making sure that scenario occurs in your log set. So we're going to keep it a sample, and I'm going to take out these other options here. Keep it as a sample. And then interval, it defaults to 60 seconds. This is how often to run the event gen. So basically it takes count and interval and puts together. If I leave it as default, every 60 seconds, create 10 events. There'll be a plus or minus, but basically every 60 seconds, you'll create 10 events. If I made this 100, every 60 seconds, it'll create 100 events. I can leave it as 60, and just like this, it takes seconds. Or I can leave interval off. I don't even put this line in there. It'll default to 60. I could go 600, which then means every 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it at 60. And this is one of those that I'm going to comment out, but that there's a good reason to have it in there. N says stop doing event gen after so many events have been run. And so there might be a situation, particularly like relay. Remember I talked about replay. You've got your sample and your replays. You don't want it to just continue to create those scenarios over and over again. And so you might run an end statement in here. In the case where I'm just trying to create noise and I just want logs all the time, I would take the end out. But if I wanted just to spin up my system, I want an hour worth of logs and then stop generating logs from that point on, then I put an end on there. And so for the purpose of this, I want it to just keep generating. So I'm going to take the end out. Auto timestamp. And we're going to leave the auto timestamp in there, and that's auto timestamp equals true. And then we're going to, and this just basically says, hey, look at the logs and see if you can determine the timestamp. And then when you supply the stuff into Splunk, it'll give it the right timestamp. I always like to use that if I can, but I also try to make sure my timestamp's really obvious where it's at. Source type, what I want to name my source type, we're going to call this lame YouTube ST. And then my source, I'm going to keep my source to be the exact same as the file I'm sampling, and so that should work there. Now I can run, this should run as is. I'm going to do something else to it to be able to change up the change up the logs a little later, but this should be the basics of what you need in order to make the thing work. And so I can go ahead and save this. Well, it would help if I spelled source right. That would be a problem. We're going to need to get source spelled right. All right, source. Now I'm going to write and quit. All right, so I've got my event gen set up. Now I need to build my sample file. So I'm going to come out here, and you need to make a directory called samples with an S, because that is the default location that event gen is going to look for your file. And now, what did I call my my event gen? So if I go cat oh, okay, so I'm going to go, I just go cat default event gen. I named it mylog.sample. So I need to go into samples by mylog.sample. And if I do that, now I'm going to create a simple JSON file. So I'm just going to go in here, insert TTS 0 source IP 0. And the reason I'm putting these zeros in, it'll be very easy. I'm building a construct. I want my log to have a timestamp, a source IP, and a dest IP. And then I'm putting the 0 in here because I'm going to later, after I make sure this whole thing works, I'm going to validate that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to replace the zeros with some random value. So we can change replacement types and we can put different things in there so they'll show up. I might want to use a random IP address or something like that. And so I'll use things like that to generate my sample file. And to make it really easy, just put a 0 in there and then I can use some regex to find it. Now, we'll cover all of that in a minute, but don't worry. Right now, we're just basically going to create a log and it's going to call the TS as a 0, et cetera, et cetera. So if we have this working right, one of the ways I like to test that out is I'll take the file here and I'll go to, I always mess my JSON up. It's not like it's hard to write JSON, but the longer you get, the more likely you are to mess it up. So I like to go to JSON validation tool, and that did not copy, and then I paste it. Just make sure I have some valid JSON. I didn't miss anything. And boom, it turns into the JSON like I would expect. All right, so there shouldn't be any spelling errors or anything like that. No forgetting a double quote or a colon or etc. All right, so if I close this out, and now I'm going to come back to my Splunk instance. And one of the things I've learned, we're going to look at lame. There's my lame event gen wizard. This is a mistake I have found happen frequently. I'll come into permissions and I look here and say, yep, I got read, write, power everywhere. But these apply selected role permissions to this app only or all apps. To do event gen, the SA event gen app, I'm going to download that from Splunk that I need for this to work. It requires those permissions as well. And so I need to move from this app only to all apps. I need to give permissions so that I can actually write the event gen. I've had my event gen break a bunch, and that's because I keep forgetting to give this apply selected role permissions to all apps. Once I do this and I download the SA event gen, we should be good to go. And so I'm going to hit save. I want to make sure I gave that all apps the permission to the app I just built. And now let's go to Splunk Base. And we go download the app we need, which is event-gen. Just grab this. I'll log in to download. I don't need to download it because I already have it. It's already installed. But download it, install it on your Splunk instance, and validate it's there. If I run event-gen, there's my SA event-gen. It's up and running. And so the next thing we can do is we can go here settings, data inputs, and we want to make sure we should have it now. Once you've installed the event gen, you'll now have an event gen input, and so we're going to go validate it. Event gen, yours will probably start as disabled. I've turned mine on, so mine is enabled. Make sure your event gen is enabled. Another quick way, if you make some changes, you want to turn it on. Say you stuck an end statement in your script over here in that event gen. You can just turn it on and turn it back. You can disable and then re-enable, and it will restart, creating the number of events that you wanted. Every time Splunk restarts, it'll restart the event gen, and remember your random events will start flowing in again. So anyway, that's another way you can start and stop your Splunk, your event gen, but make sure none of this will work unless it's enabled. And so my event gen is enabled. I don't need to make any new stanzas, anything like that. I just need to enable it. And now that that is all working, let's go restart Splunk. All right, let's go quickly back so I know exactly how to write my query. I'm going to go into default, cat. So I'm looking for index of lame event gen and source type of lame YouTube ST. So let's go make sure that works. And it did not. So we will go find out what I did wrong. All right, well, we found our problem. We just need to write our query correctly. Index equals lame event gen. And instead of searching for source, we need to do source type. Uh, I don't even want to describe the frustration that caused me. Anyway, we see events coming in. Their timestamp is 0, so which isn't very useful, but nice thing is it's giving a nice little timestamp as to when the log was ingested. So we can see that. And if I wait a minute, we'll get another 10 events. So every minute we'll get another 10 of these events coming in. Now they're all repeating themselves because I've created no randomness whatsoever in this sample. But in its most basic form, I have created a event gen. To put the randomness in it, it's really simple. I hope you'll jump to the next video and watch it with me. Watch that video as well. I'll explain how to change the timestamp, how to change all the different fields. And anyway, so yeah, so I hope this helps you move from being a lame analyst to a Splunk ninja, and hope you'll continue to watch this video series and my other videos.